أهلا وسهلا فيكم. Welcome to my kitchen and Sahtein. Today I'm making Manakish, one of my favorite things in the universe. When I have the energy, I like to make it at home from scratch with the dough. I'm gonna start by just sifting all my flours together. 2.5 cups of bread flour or strong flour and 1 cup of regular unbleached all-purpose flour, and sift them together in a bowl. If you only have regular all-purpose flour, it'll just be a slightly different texture, but it's totally fine. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of regular sea salt, tablespoon and a half of sugar, roughly. A little more sugar than salt. Great. 1 large tablespoon of milk powder. If you don't have dry milk, you can also add liquid milk. This is the only reason I keep this ingredient around the house. And then we're just gonna stir all of our dry ingredients together. Use either a packet of active dry yeast or about a tablespoon. I'm just gonna dissolve it. Just a little splash of warm water, and just let it sit for a few minutes. Let's gradually combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. I have about a 1/3 cup of sunflower oil. You can use the vegetable oil of your choice. I like to use sunflower oil, that's what we use in Amman. I'm going to add my yeast water, so joyous. A cup or so of water, but I'm gonna add this gradually as I get this mixed together. For me, dough is something that needs to be a very intimate experience. You want to learn about how the dough feels. You want to get in there with your hands. I don't discourage using a food processor if it makes you make the dough. But you know, if you've got the time, if you've got the energy, get your hands in there. Become friends with the dough. Because the dough's about to do some really nice things for you. And it's a living thing, you know? Once your dough comes together, lightly flour a surface, and bring it out and give it just a few minutes of kneading. You just want it to get to a point where it's bouncy and it's got a little bit of spring to it. I'm gonna put a bowl. I'm gonna put olive oil in there. That's a lot of olive oil. That's okay. And just make a nice little home. You wanna cover your dough and you wanna put it in a warm, dry, dark place. I sometimes just put it in the oven and leave it in there for the next hour, hour and a half, until it doubles in size. I'll see you then. And we're back. It's been about an hour and a half, so let's check out how our baby's doing. Oh, well, look at that. One of my favorite parts. Every time my mom makes this, she always calls me into the kitchen right at this point. Say, Nadia, watch me do this. Ready? I don't know if punching the dough is really necessary, but I like to do that. Nice. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna divvy this up into little balls and let it rest a little bit further. So just make a little fist. Rest. These are pretty big dough balls I'm making right now too. You can make them smaller. I'm rolling it so that I can make roughly like 10 centimeter sized ones. Now when you're making these dough balls, you don't wanna like knead them. This is not like kneading time, but you just want them to, you know, be semi-nice and smooth looking. Let's let them rest for a little bit longer. While these are resting, I'm going to mix together the olive oil and zaatar that we're going to spread on top before we bake the beautiful Manakish. This is the magic part, the zaatar. Do you want to take a look? Can you smell it? So this zaatar is super fresh, brought it back from Jordan. The fresher the zaatar you can get, the better. If you're able to get some that's imported, or if you have family that's bringing it back for you, you are in a great situation. In New York specifically, you can get it from Sahadi's on Atlantic Ave. You can find zaatar. Just look for the greenest possible zaatar you can find. We want a good amount of olive oil, a really good amount of olive oil, and we're just gonna start with spoons of zaatar. We like lots of zaatar. Not too liquidy, but it's gonna become a really thick spread. This is where really all of the flavor of the Manakish comes in. It is all about the zaatar. So really, don't go light on the zaatar. Zaatar is not a spice. It's a condiment. Now we have a dough that can be really made into a lot of things. Today we're gonna make Manakish. Tomorrow you could use it for pizza. You could use it for meat pies, spinach pies. I'm gonna show you 2 different ways that you can make Manakish. The 2 yield slightly different results. Mess with them, see what you like. One of our happy friends. Let's roll it out. Dough, pan, oven, heat it up to 400, 425. Really hot, very hot. You're gonna spread the zaatar, and we're gonna be generous with it. Bottom shelf, about 6 to 8 minutes, depending on your oven, until the outer edges are golden. We're gonna do another one on the pan. Let's get this pan to a low to medium heat. I'm using a cast iron pan. Cast iron's really nice because it's non-stick. Let's get another one of our friends. It's okay if they don't look perfect. We're just in your house. This is just for you and for me. Pan is hot-ish. Okay, we're gonna layer in there. The dough has started bubbling a little bit on the top. So at this point, really want to flip it over. I need to flip it over though. Damage the dough too much. Actually need more olive oil in here now. Okay. We're just gonna spread this on. You see that bubbling? That's some bubbling action we are getting right now. Okay, that's the oven supposedly ready. I'm making 2 different methods of Manakish in one time. Ooh. Let's check out how we're doing in here. Yes, done for sure. That's really nice. Look at that crisp on the bottom. Let's put it next to each other and compare, shall we? Gosh, it smells like my mom made Manakish in my house. Let's try the stovetop one first. That's a good bread recipe. That's really good. I'm gonna try it.
Oh, wow.
Good though, right? So I'm gonna try the one that I made in the oven now. Same exact recipe. The crust is definitely thicker. There's more air bubbles in here. The bread is more pillowy, but also I rolled it out just slightly less thin. With the stovetop Manakish, the olive oil doesn't really get baked in the way that it does in the oven. Like there's a stronger taste of fresh olive oil. And here it's slightly drier. Still there's a big aftertaste of olive oil. Both are really good methods that you could use, whichever's easiest to you. That is how you can make your very own homemade dough and Manakish. I'm gonna roll the rest of these out. Actually, I'm gonna save a couple and make some fresh tomorrow. And then I'm gonna have some labneh and tomatoes and cucumbers with these. I hope you enjoyed making Manakish with me today, and I really hope you try it. I hope you try this dough. Making dough and making bread, it takes practice, and with practice, it only gets better, and it is truly one of the most rewarding things to make a dough with your hands and then create bread out of it. It's really just such a joy. If you have any recipes that you would like to learn how to make from me, or if there's a subject around the topic of Palestinian food that you would like to hear talked about, please let me know. I would really like to share more of this part of my life with you because it brings me so much joy.